Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Erin, the founder of Gentle Giraffes Newborn Care and Family Services. And today I am joined by Yvette, who is a chef and owns Queen of the Pantry. Thank you so much, Yvette, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Erin.
I'm so excited to speak with you because I know you and I have talked a lot about what you do, and you do so much for not only just pregnant mothers and postpartum mothers, but you also have a lot of clients that are going through other life-changing events and stuff too. And so you're really, really great with healthy food to be able to nourish the body for healing. And that's one of the things I love about what you and your team does. So tell me a little bit about, I know you've launched not too long ago a new program for postpartum moms called like the Mom Program or something, if I remember correctly.
Right. So it's basically a new moms, new parent program. And excuse me, after years of working with pregnant and new moms and, families with new babies in general, we've kind of compiled our most popular menu choices, nutritional kind of guidelines, and all of the recipes and protocols that we've been following. We just sort of put it into a nice little package that we can offer, um, fairly turnkey from our point of view. So we also get a lot of requests for a gift certificate, like if someone in the family is having a baby and, a group of people want to get together and give a gift, maybe everything on the registry has been purchased and all of that. So they'll purchase either a week or a month of meals from us. And we have found, that's really helpful for the families, especially when they're far away and they can't necessarily be there to cook and help out. Maybe they're there for the first week, but then they have to leave. So we come in, all that sort of thing. So we just made it kind of an easy turnkey package that if someone gets in touch with us, we can say, yes, we've got this great program. It is personalized. However, my team and I are ready to go. And it's been, doing really well. So it really helps us to be able to plan out, sort of like you do when people are expecting and they'll say, okay, we know our family member is scheduled for a C-section, or we at least know the birth is going to be this month or around this time. And then we can tentatively get them on the schedule, even if it's, 6 months out, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's been really great and helpful because I get, phone calls from family members in other parts of the country, and they'll say, well, my daughter-in-law just found out that she needs to be dairy-free and gluten-free, or all of a sudden with this pregnancy, she's not tolerating this, and we're not there to cook for her. Is this something you do? So that's exactly what we do. So it's been a great program.
I think it's wonderful that you tailor it to the individual because, like you just said, some people are gluten free, some people are dairy free. And as we all know, every single pregnancy is different, and who knows what the body is going to be able to tolerate. But with that being said, and we also know with when you're pregnant, you want to be able to maximize your nutrients because you're trying to actually, you're growing a baby. So you need extra iron to be able to grow more blood cells, and you need more amino acids because you want the brain to grow and all of that kind of stuff. How do you incorporate all of those healthy nutrients in say for women who are pregnant when they have possible dietary restrictions and stuff, especially if they're having morning sickness, or sometimes it's all day sickness and stuff too.
Right. So that's a good question. And as you said, it's very individualized. So we go through a very detailed food preference questionnaire to get the new mom to be's all of her preferences, likes, dislikes, things she has aversions to. Um, so she may be intolerant of something, but she may still be craving that. So say like cheese. So we'll find different ways to create a cheese flavor, whether that's if she can have nuts, for example, we'll create cashew cheeses or nut cheeses and sauces
Yeah.
and things like that, just to give her that same comforting feel. Because as we believe that there's a mindfulness component to this. So you want to be happy and enjoying your food and your meals. And we want to help create that for the new mom to be, because a lot of people, whether they're pregnant or not, if they find out they've got allergies or intolerances, it can cause a lot of anxiety, because
Mm.
the tendency is to focus on
Yeah.
what I can't have and what I should not be eating. Where what we do is we take a look at what can you have, what is nourishing for you, such as iron, protein, minerals, vitamins, all of that stuff, and what are the foods that capture those ingredients the best, and then we create meals and recipes around those. And one of our areas of expertise is that we are all trained professional chefs, certified as personal chefs. And we take our culinary expertise and apply that culinary technique to the meals and the recipes. So, for example, um, a, a lot of women, maybe the end of their pregnancy or into breastfeeding, prefer to have all their foods cooked and warm, nourishing meals.
Mm.
Maybe cold doesn't necessarily agree with them, or they don't digest it very well. So, what are those types of culinary techniques that really lend themselves well to really maintaining the nutrients and vitamins of food without overcooking it to death? You know what I'm saying?
I totally
So
do.
so there's a lot of things that go into it, and we kind of sit down and look at the food preferences, and then we look at what types of dishes and what types of culinary techniques would be most nourishing and most beneficial. Um, and with that said, we also um, we also really strongly recommend working with a dietitian. If most of the time now our new moms have a dietitian or a nutritionist that they're working with. I am certified in nutrition and sports nutrition and weight management and active aging, but I am not a dietitian and I am not a doctor. So I'm very careful about what I offer as suggestions. Um, I keep that from a culinary nutrition point of view, where I work with a lot of really wonderful dietitians in the Boston area and even other parts of the country, depending on where the client's based out of, and holistic nutritionists as well. But reviewing all of the food preferences, especially when there's intolerances, allergies, and aversions, to make sure that we're following their guidelines. So that's something I do a lot. And I do that with a lot of other clients that are going through cancer treatment or have medical restrictions as well. Even pro athletes, a lot of them have intolerances or very strict nutritional guidelines to follow. So it's something that we're really familiar with and are pretty good at this point. So we enjoy doing it. It's kind of like, a puzzle piece. We're just sort of fitting it all together and creating this seamless, nutritious meal program. And, that's hopefully convenient for everybody, especially the new moms.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's wonderful too. I know I'm familiar with some of your background. You were also a fitness model or in fitness competitions too. So I knew that you have that background, but I knew you had some of the nutrition background as well. But I love the fact that you distinguish the fact that you are not a doctor and you're not a dietitian, and you like to work with them as well with your clients to bring them the optimal balance of food and nutrients for them for their particular needs.
Exactly. So, like you, where we like to see ourselves as part of the team.
Yeah.
So, lots of times, as you know, we have similar clients, and you're part of the team, we are part of the team. Maybe, they may have a personal trainer that they're working with, depending on where they are in their pregnancy. They may have a dietitian. So we like to be, a part of that team and work as much as a team player. We don't just come in and say, okay, no one else can contribute to what we're doing. We just offer this meal service and that's it. We will work with everybody involved to make sure that this is a very holistic approach that works for everyone.
I think that's really important, especially for pregnant women and postpartum women too, and probably for their household as well, because their significant others probably have no idea what to cook, and especially during postpartum, they're overwhelmed with the baby as well. So it's really, really great that you come in and tailor to the meals to most likely the birthing parent, but probably incorporate other things for the other family members as well. So it's just easy for them to heat it up quickly.
Exactly. We do that. We typically start off with maybe it's meals just for the mom for when she comes home, but we also get a lot of gift certificates that are, can you provide meals for the mom, but also for the rest of the family? And by the way, there's already a set of twins at home, or, older kids, or people that are going to be coming and going for the next 2 weeks. And so we'll incorporate all of that. And it is kind of funny because we get the same thing a lot where a family member will say, well, everyone's stocking the fridge with lasagnas and chicken soup and all that. And we all love lasagna and chicken soup, but you obviously you want to eat a variety of nutrients, and you don't want to have the fridge packed with just one type of food, or have that be overwhelming. And then all of a sudden, the new mom is using every bit of her energy to take care of the baby. And there's this fridge full of food that really needs to be broken down into smaller portions or heated up for the kids and all of that. So the whole, as you mentioned, heating, packaging thing is another area that we are very thoughtful about, because you want to create something very convenient for the mom to grab, whether it's a snack or a hot meal, and having those ready to go in small mini meal portions for her, if that's what she needs and that's what's easiest, is a good idea to do. Even if a family member is preparing the foods, that really works well. So, before you freeze anything, break it down into small enough portions so that if she's grabbing it or dad is grabbing it, it can easily be heated up or served without having to deal with an entire pan of like frozen lasagna or something.
Well, I was going to say it's really great for, someone like myself or other postpartum doulas or newborn care specialists that are coming in. And a lot of us are not cooks or chefs or nutritionists or anything. We just know that the mom needs to eat to be able to heal, because the food actually helps us heal, but also gives them energy to be able to be sustainable, to be able to feed the baby. Plus food obviously helps with producing milk and stuff too. So it's wonderful to have those meals already prepared, and we can just heat them up for the mom when she's ready, that kind of thing. Or, for the family members or the friends that want to bring over the lasagna or the soups or what have you, we can take that on as portioning it for them and putting it in the freezer or putting it where it needs to go, so that's easier for them too. Those are obviously things that we do to be able to help make the household run, and so the birthing parent is recovering, because some of the biggest things that they don't realize is how much they do need to recover and how slowly it can take for their bodies to recover too. So speaking of that, as we know, food helps to heal our bodies. And you were mentioning to me earlier that you were doing the 40-day food meal for a client of yours. And that really talks a lot about the different types of foods that are really good for nourishing and healing. What have you found doing this that's been really helpful, and you'll probably take with you going forward? And for the foods that maybe you would find that are really interesting that this 40-day healing process would put in actually.
Right. So for people who aren't familiar with it, there is a book called The 40 Days, and it's a protocol starting at the very end of the last trimester and then follows through postpartum for 40 days. And it's based on Asian and Chinese recipes and just healing through food protocols, a lot of very nourishing foods like mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms,
Yep.
Chinese red dates, um, black sesame tahini, that sort of thing, that are very nutrient dense and have been used for centuries for moms when they've given birth and into those first 40 days, that really help to heal the womb, nourish, help with milk production and lactation, relax the body, and also provide a great source of vitamins and minerals. They can also be very calming, things like that.
Yep.
So interestingly, the majority of those foods are a lot of things we already use and already do. So part of our initial protocol, or just in general, a lot of types of healthy, nourishing foods we would make, as an example, would be bone broths, nourishing soups and stews. I'm a big fan of purees, and having worked on the Bayaba Baby Cook cookbook recipe book, that's a lot based on purees. So, especially when you're starting to feed the baby, you want to make very finely pureed food that's really nutritious, whether it's fruits and vegetables, and everything should be cooked and steamed to some degree. And, the baby cook machine does that wonderfully. But those purees are also really nourishing for the mom. So incorporating purees into different types of foods is something that we always do. So, for example, just going beyond the smoothie, you can make really nourishing vegetable purees and root vegetable purees and use those in your muffins and baked goods and overnight oats and things like that. So the 40 days takes it a step further, and they, for example, some of the dishes would be bone broth based. They would also have some purees incorporated. One of the dishes that is popular is a rice congee, and some people may not be familiar with that, but it's a really nourishing, warming, soothing rice porridge that would kind of be like having an oatmeal, but instead it's rice based, and you can make it savory or you can make it sweet. The preference some people have over something like a congee, for example, is that it doesn't necessarily affect the blood sugar as much as, say, an overnight oats bowl may. So, and there's a lot of other nourishing things that go into it, like seaweed you can add, and mushrooms and things like that. Other foods would be vegetable stews and curry type dishes that have the Chinese red dates and have a lot of root vegetables that are cooked, a lot of greens that are cooked. Part of the protocol is the warming food, so staying away from anything really, really cold that would kind of shock your system, because you're trying to heal and nourish the baby. So the idea is to keep the body warm so that it can relax and produce energy and nourish the baby without kind of going into shock and creating any sort of excess anxiety. The idea is to just have the mom relaxed and nourished. So it's interesting. We are just kind of reframing a lot of what we do and following the protocol. And in this case, we are following the recipes in the order pretty much that they recommend in the book, which is fun for us because it's something a little bit different, but in terms of culinary technique, things that we already do. So makes us, makes it easier for us to just, kind of be able to know what's on our plate. One of the interesting things in the book that I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but now it seems to be more popular that women are utilizing the nutrients from their placenta in different ways, whether it's having it in pill form, or in this book, for example, it kind of follows an older recommendation of using it in its more natural state. So for example, the book has a recipe for a placenta smoothie where you would take a portion of the placenta and use that in a smoothie. And in this case, the cold is okay because it's kind of like a different way of nourishing the body, but you wouldn't drink it ice cold, but you're still getting all the benefits of, having a lot of nutrients in one meal, as an example.
I mean, I think that's wonderful too. Yeah, there's a huge uptick of people taking their placenta, like you said, either putting it in pill form. I know a girl who actually took it, and she's really creative at saving money, and she would literally cut a piece off and just swallow it like daily and stuff, which is not something I would do, but there's definitely different ways that people, are finding ways to take it too. I want to also just go back to the foods that you're talking about and how they're always warm. Part of it, and tell me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming is because warmth helps to reduce inflammation and heal as well. So as we go through, even if it's a natural delivery or if we've had a C-section, our body still needs to heal because that was trauma to our bodies. Even though we do it every day and we've been doing it for millions of years, it's still a type of trauma. So I would assume that that's why they want the foods warm, for their body to be able to help reduce the inflammation. And I'm assuming too that book doesn't have a lot of dairy recipes or call for dairy in many of them as well, for the same thing again,
No,
of inflammation.
right. I mean, it mentions that in certain cases, if you want to use like a grass-fed milk, for example, you could do that. But in general, because it's based on Asian recipes and flavors and foods, there really isn't dairy in it. But she does kind of mention ways that you can update things. So for example, if you're making a smoothie, you could, obviously use yogurt if you tolerate it and that's fine with you, or you could just stick to like a nut milk or water, something like that. But you're right. Eating the warm foods also, that's just something that if you struggle with digestion, raw cold foods can be really hard to digest for some people. So obviously you want, if you are breastfeeding and healing, you want to be able to digest food properly, and just the warming foods is helpful in that environment.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Can you list maybe a couple of recipes or foods that might be like really helpful for somebody who can make it on their own, something like that, that's really simple and easy, but really packed full of nutrients for them as well.
Right. So a couple things are just good quality bone broths if you're someone that consumes that. Just, and now you can actually order or purchase really good quality bone broths
Mhm.
and have them in the freezer. And then just either sip on them, or creating a vegetable soup or stew is one of the easiest things you can do because you're getting the best of both worlds. So especially, this time of year where the farmers markets have a lot of great vegetables, just, keeping them on hand and just simmer them gently in one of the bone broths, throw some greens in there, and then you've got a soup or a stew. You can also, just take any seasonal vegetables and roast them very easily on a sheet pan in the oven, and then just have them on hand so you can, if you're eating salads, you can throw them on greens, you can throw them on a whole grain, and just kind of make a nourishing, warm, rice bowl or Buddha bowl if you want to do that. I think as long as you are getting as many of the colors of the rainbow throughout the day, that's what's really important. You want a variety of nutrients, and especially protein. Protein is something, especially women, as we're getting older, we tend to need more of. And we gravitate, especially if, we have nausea or we're anxious or anything like that, a lot of us tend to gravitate towards the carbs.
Yeah.
But making sure you've got some type of protein on hand that you will eat, whether it's, chicken breast or organic tofu, things like that, just having that on hand and trying to get protein at every meal throughout the day. So a couple other ideas that are helpful are making smoothie cubes, so you can kind of blend up not just fruit. It doesn't have to be just fruit. You can blend up like fruit with a little bit of zucchini or sweet potato or cauliflower, and make a nice vegetable puree base that maybe has some fruit in it to give it a little touch of sweetness, like some blueberries or strawberries. Banana is great. And then put that in ice cube trays or silicone ice cube trays and freeze that, so that it's just really easy to, throw those into a blender and make yourself a smoothie. Do the same thing with a vegetable puree or a pureed soup or a broth. Make a big batch of a nice seasonal squash soup and use something nourishing like coconut milk as a base if you don't eat dairy or you want to be dairy free. And coconut is one of those foods that's supposed to be helpful for lactation. And then pour that into ice cube trays or small little Pyrex containers or Tupperware containers, and keep that in the freezer. That can be added to anything. You can add it to one of your grain bowls and just kind of mix it in, or you can add it to a baked good. You can just, you can warm it up quickly and have us add some broth to it and have a small soup. So those things are easy ideas. Plus, as I said, for protein, just even, roasting some chicken breast or any type of protein you want. It doesn't have to be fancy, but just keep it on hand so that you can grab it even as a snack. And that will help satiate you and, give you some more of the energy that you need.
Yep. Or
I think,
hot-boiled
you want to
eggs.
stay away from just gravitating towards, eating just pasta or,
Yeah.
Things like that. Obviously, if you're not feeling well, those are the things you're kind of gravitating towards, but trying to work in some healthy vegetables and some good quality protein is key.
They'll also give you, the pastas and the carbs will give you energy as well, but it's a fast energy. And whereas like the vegetables and the fruits and even the proteins will give you long sustainable energy. And as a new parent, you want more long sustainable energy. And why not have that too? That's also going to be healing you as well. So it's like best of both worlds.
Exactly. And the protein also gives you, especially if it's in a broth or a soup or a stew, you're getting the collagen and elastin, and that's really important. And to your point, so for that sustainable energy, but also just for healthy nutrients. And you also want to make sure that even if you're not eating meat, there's some good quality marine collagen products that you can get. Obviously there's a lot of convenience foods, and I will always check with the mom's dietitian if she has one to get a suggestion. But using a collagen supplement is very popular now. It's just obviously being mindful of the source.
Yes.
But there are marine collagens. that you can use. There are good quality gelatin powders that are also, I mean, they're obviously, either beef or pork, but if you're struggling, if you're willing to consume it, but you're struggling with the actual texture of eating it or something like that, that is a way to get the collagen and the nutrients from it. But the gelatin powder is something that we use as well because it's very nourishing for the gut. So it's part of a lot of gut healing protocols. And so we will use a good quality, clean gelatin powder, for example, in desserts and things like that, if we're making a healthy snack or treat.
I think that's wonderful too, that you brought in the gut healing too, because a lot of newborns have digestive issues. And what people don't understand or don't realize, that the pregnant woman's gut is going to affect up to 5 generations. So you think about, like, if I were to have a baby, my gut, whether it's healthy or not, is going to affect the baby that I'm carrying, but also my great grandkids and all that kind of stuff too. But as we're eating and we're breastfeeding and stuff too, what we're eating there is going to affect the child that we're breastfeeding's gut as well. And it's really helpful and mindful to be able to pick foods that are going to heal the mother's gut, so it can also in turn heal the baby's gut too. So we've got a lot of kids that have, like, reflux, or they have digestive issues. I mean, we also know that the baby's digestive system isn't mature when it's born too, but we can also help it along. There's a lot of gas, a lot of that kind of stuff too, but we can minimize a lot of that depending on how healthy the gut is.
Right. And that's, to your point about the gas, that's another good reason to cook cruciferous veg and ingest those, warm and either cooked or partially cooked, like like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbages, that sort of thing. But I think, it can be really overwhelming, and you see a lot of, for example, blog posts and Pinterest posts for, you need to create all these freezer meals, and you need to do this and do that. And it can be very overwhelming. I think just taking a whole food approach. So
Yeah.
a couple of whole grains that you like, and if pasta is one of them, that's fine too. But, like, think about farro and pearl barley and things like that that have a lot of great nutrient density. Quinoa is not a grain. People get confused about that. It's actually a seed, and some people are great with quinoa. Other people don't digest it that well. So you can have that and kind of use it as a condiment, sprinkle it on your, salads or your Buddha bowl. Have warm salads. Just keep a lot of different color and different types of veggies already cooked, whether it's steamed or roasted, in the fridge, and then a couple of grains, and just grab them. And then you've got your favorite protein source. And then anyone can put a little bowl together for you, and having some, like, really great soup, stews, purees, and broths in the freezer is another good one.
You're such a wealth of information when it comes to all of this. I could talk to you all day about it and learn so many wonderful, different recipes. And we have an array of food that can definitely, help heal, moms too. But, I don't want to take up too much time from everybody. And I know you have to get off to a client's house today too. So I wanted to just say thank you so much for joining us and giving us your expertise on all sorts of foods and what you and your team do. I know we talked a lot more about the healthy moms and pregnancy, but I also know you have, as you mentioned, you worked with cancer patients, you work with athletes, you work with, just somebody who wants to get their food under control too. So you work with a wide array of people and their different dietary their needs and stuff too. So thank you so much for joining us. I love talking to you, and I know we're going to be working together as the time goes on. Where can people also, besides our website, because you're on our website as a VIP, gentlgiraffes.com, but where else can people find you if they're looking for a gift certificate, or they want to hire you because you're in the local area of Boston?
Right. Thank you. Well, my website is queenofthepantry.com, all one word. And Instagram is at Queen of the Pantry. And you can email me at Yvette@queenofthepantry.com. If anyone has any questions after this video, they feel free to post or email me or message me. I'm happy to answer any questions, and any suggestions. Maybe at some point we can do a follow-up video based on any questions we get. But yeah, I welcome any questions or inquiries. I'm happy to just, provide as much information and help as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yvette, for joining us today. You have a great day, and we will
Thank you.
definitely probably do a follow-up at some point.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.